My family secretly called me the lonely cash machine, while I silently paid off my brother's crushing debts for years. They had no idea my new fiancé overheard their cruel jokes, until they called begging for one last bailout. The first time I paid off one of my brother's gambling debts, I was 24, and still believed in fairy tales about family. 10 years later, I'm standing in my kitchen, staring at my depleted savings account, while my mother's voice crackles through the phone. Eva, sweetie, you know Ishmael wouldn't ask if it wasn't important. I'm Eva, the reliable one, the successful one, the one they call when the walls are closing in. Tonight, my bank balance is a stark reminder of just how reliable I've been. Mom, I just covered his rent last month, I say, pinching the bridge of my nose. And his car payment the month before that. But this is different. He's in real trouble this time. Of course, it's different. It's always different. The worst part? 2 hours ago, I was sitting at our traditional Sunday dinner watching them all laugh at Melina's jokes. My sister has a way of making everything sound light, even when she's twisting the knife. Poor Eva, she'd said, raising her wine glass. All work and no play. At least your bank account keeps you warm at night. Everyone had laughed. Even Summer, my youngest sister who usually stays out of it. I'd forced a smile like always and excused myself to use the bathroom. On my way back, I'd overheard them in the dining room. The family cash machine, Melina had whispered, followed by more laughter. Thank God she's too lonely to spend it on anything else. Now hours later, my mother's still talking. It's just 9,000 this time, sweetheart. Ishmael says this Nico person isn't very patient. My phone buzzes with a text. Speak of the devil. It's Nico. Tell your brother he's got 48 hours. Mom, I have to go, I interrupt. We'll talk tomorrow. I hang up before she can protest and slide down against the kitchen cabinet until I'm sitting on the cold tile floor. My phone buzzes again. This time, it's Ishmael. Sis, please. I know I messed up, but this guy, Nico, he's not like the others. He's talking about breaking things, important things like bones. I close my eyes and count to 10. When I open them, there's another text from Melina. Stop being dramatic and help him. What else are you saving for anyway? What am I saving for? Maybe a life, maybe a future. Maybe the dream of not being everyone's emergency fund. My phone rings again. It's my father this time, a rare occurrence that means things must be serious. Samir only calls when he wants to remind me about family duty. Eva, his voice is gruff, authoritative. Your mother's crying. Is that what you want? Dad, family takes care of family. You know this. I do know this. I've known it since I was 12 and started saving my allowance to buy Summer's school supplies because Dad was between jobs. I've known it every time Melina needed help with rent, every time Ishmael got in too deep, every time Mom's credit cards maxed out. The doorbell rings, making me jump. Through the peephole, I see Ishmael looking disheveled and desperate. His eyes are red, his hands shaking as he rings again. Eva, please, he calls through the door. I can hear you in there. Just help me figure this out. I stand perfectly still, barely breathing. On my phone, the banking app is still open, showing my savings account. 10 years of being the responsible one, of living below my means, of saying no to vacations and new clothes and any kind of life outside of work, all so I could be there when they needed me. The doorbell rings again and again and again. My phone lights up with a final text from Nico. Time's running out. Hope your brother's got a good sister. I slide down the wall again, my chest tight with an emotion I can't quite name. Maybe it's anger. Maybe it's grief. Maybe it's the realization that fairy tales about family are just that. Fairy tales. Tomorrow, I'll probably give in. I'll transfer the money, listen to their thanks, watch them forget about it by next Sunday's dinner. But right now, sitting here in my dark apartment while my brother rings the doorbell and my phone lights up with desperate pleas, I make myself a promise. This will be the last time. I've made this promise before, of course, but something feels different tonight. Maybe it's the echo of Melina's words, family cash machine, or maybe it's just that I'm finally tired enough to mean it. The doorbell stops ringing. In the sudden silence, I can hear Ishmael's footsteps retreating down the hallway. My phone buzzes one final time, a reminder about tomorrow's meeting with a potential client. Life goes on. At least, it does for everyone else. 3 weeks after the Nico incident, I'm standing in a crowded tech conference center pretending to be interested in cloud computing solutions. That's when I hear someone chuckle behind me. The look on your face suggests you'd rather be anywhere else. I turn to find a tall man in a well-fitted suit, his eyes crinkling with amusement. His name tag reads, Michael, Architecture Solutions Lead. That obvious? I ask, managing a small smile. Only to fellow sufferers. I'm Michael. Want to escape to the coffee station? Over mediocre conference coffee, Michael tells me about his work designing sustainable buildings. And for the first time in weeks, I feel myself relaxing. He has this way of listening that makes you feel heard, really heard. So, Eva, he says, what brings you to this thrilling event? Looking for new project management software for my team, though honestly, I'm mostly hiding from my phone. Bad breakup? I laugh. Bad family. They're complicated. Aren't they all? He pauses, then adds, hey, there's this amazing Italian place around the corner. Their pasta could make you forget any family drama. What do you say? I should say no. I have 3 missed calls from Ishmael and a text from Mom about urgent family matters. But Michael's smile is genuine. And for once, I want something for myself. Lead the way. The restaurant is small and warm with red checkered tablecloths and candles in wine bottles. Michael orders wine and talks about his sister Stacy, who sounds refreshingly normal. She's actually having a barbecue this weekend, he says. Would you like to come? My phone buzzes. Melina. Mom's crying because you won't answer. Hope you're proud of yourself. I turn my phone face down. I'd love to. The barbecue is nothing like my family gatherings. Stacy greets me with a genuine hug. Her kids run around playing tag instead of asking for money, and nobody makes passive-aggressive comments about my life choices. So you're the famous Ever, Stacy says, handing me a beer. Michael hasn't shut up about you all week. Stacy? Michael groans, but he's smiling. What? It's cute. You're like a teenager with a crush. As weeks turn into months, Michael becomes my sanctuary. We spend weekends exploring the city, finding hidden architectural gems, and talking about everything and nothing. He tells me about losing his father young, about building his company from scratch. I tell him about my work, my dreams of traveling, my love of photography. But I don't tell him about the money, about being the family ATM, about the growing stack of urgent texts I've been ignoring. 6 months in, Michael takes me to dinner at that same Italian restaurant where we had our first date. Move in with me, he says over tiramisu. My place is closer to your office, and I hate waking up without you. My phone vibrates. Mom again. Ishmael needs $9,000 by Friday, or he's in serious trouble. This is urgent Ever. I look at Michael, kind, successful, drama-free Michael, and feel shame burn in my chest. He deserves to know what he's getting into. There's something I need to tell you first, I start, but he cuts me off. Whatever it is, we'll figure it out together. That's what partners do. Partners. The word makes my throat tight. I need you to know that my family is complicated. He reaches across the table, takes my hand. Eva, I love you. Complicated family and all. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Summer. Eva, please. He really messed up this time. Michael squeezes my hand. Everything okay? I should tell him about the money, the manipulation, the endless demands, about how my savings account is a fraction of what it should be because I can't say no to them. Instead, I squeeze back and say, everything's perfect. Later that night, lying in bed at Michael's place, our place now, I suppose, I stare at the ceiling while he sleeps peacefully beside me. My phone lights up one last time. Mom, if you don't help your brother, whatever happens is on your hands. I raised you better than this. I turn off my phone completely, curl into Michael's warmth, and try to believe that I deserve this happiness, that I can have this new life without the weight of my family's expectations. But as I drift off to sleep, I can't shake the feeling that everything's about to change, because that's the thing about family secrets. They never stay buried forever, and mine are about to come crashing down around me. Michael proposes on a misty morning by the lake, down on one knee, with a vintage ring that belonged to his grandmother. It's perfect. Simple, sincere, just like him. I say yes through tears, finally believing I deserve this happiness. We should tell your family in person, he says later as we're driving home. Have them over for dinner. My stomach tightens, but I nod. They'll want to celebrate. They arrive at our apartment that evening in unusually high spirits. Even Melina is beaming, pulling me into a tight hug. "Look at you," she gushes, examining my ring, finally joining the grown-up world. Mom can't stop crying, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. My baby girl getting married to such a successful man. I catch the emphasis on successful, but force a smile. Michael's in the kitchen preparing his signature lasagna while I pour wine and try to keep the conversation light. You're glowing," Melina says, touching my cheek. "Marriage suits you already." And Michael, "Well, you certainly picked a winner." Summer nods enthusiastically. "His place is gorgeous. You're so lucky, sis." The evening flows surprisingly well. No one mentions money or Ishmael's troubles. Even Dad, who showed up late, seems genuinely happy for me. During dessert, my phone rings. It's work. "Sorry," I say, standing. "I have to take this. It's about the Singapore project." I step into the hallway, leaving everyone chatting over tiramisu. The call is quick, just a scheduling issue. But as I'm heading back, I hear voices from the dining room. I pause, an old habit from years of eavesdropping, to gauge my family's true feelings. "It's about time she landed someone wealthy," Melina's saying, her voice low but clear. "God knows she's been hoarding her money long enough." "Shh," Mom whispers, but she's laughing. "Though you're right, maybe now she'll stop being so stingy with family." "Please," Melina snorts. "Now that she's got a rich fiancé, tapping her will be so much easier." Michael seems like the type who'd want to help family. "We should wait though," Mom adds. "Let them get married first, then we can bring up Ishmael's situation." I feel sick. My hands are shaking, and I want to burst in to confront them, but then I hear movement. Michael appears in the hallway, his face unreadable. How long has he been standing there? Our eyes meet. He heard everything. I open my mouth, but he shakes his head slightly and walks past me back to the dining room. His voice is perfectly normal as he offers everyone coffee, but I can feel the shift in him. The rest of the evening passes in a blur. My family leaves with hugs and kisses. Mom already talking about wedding venues and guest lists. Melina squeezes my arm and whispers, "We'll go dress shopping soon, little sister." After they're gone, Michael and I clean up in silence. I'm waiting for him to speak, to ask questions, to judge me. Instead, he just loads the dishwasher, his movements mechanical. Finally, I can't take it anymore. "Michael, how long?" He asks quietly, not looking at me. "How long have they been using you like this?" "I should have told you." "Yes." He turns, and his eyes are sad. "You should have." "I was ashamed," I whisper. "I didn't want you to see, to know." "To know what?" "That your family treats you like an ATM? That they're already planning how to use our marriage for money?" Tears spill down my cheeks. "I'm sorry." He crosses the kitchen and pulls me into his arms. "Don't apologize. You're not the one who should be sorry. I thought tonight would be different," I say into his chest. "They seemed so happy." "They were happy," he says grimly. "Happy about what they think they can get from us." I pull back, wiping my eyes. "What do we do?" "First, you tell me everything. No more secrets, Eva. If we're getting married, I need to know what I'm walking into." So I tell him about the years of bailouts and guilt trips, about Ishmael's gambling and Mom's emotional manipulation, about Melina's subtle digs and Dad's selective appearances when money's involved. When I finish, Michael's quiet for a long moment, then he says, "You know this has to stop." I know. And for the first time, I really do know. Hearing them plot to use my marriage to use Michael, it's different somehow. Worse. "We'll figure it out together," he says, kissing my forehead. "But Eva, no more enabling. No more sacrificing yourself for people who don't appreciate you." I nod, but my phone's already buzzing with a new message. "Ishmael. Congratulations, sis. Since you're celebrating, any chance you could help me out with a small problem?" I stare at the message, my finger hovering over the reply button. Old habits die hard. The call comes at 3 a.m., 1 week after the engagement dinner. My phone vibrates against the nightstand, Mom's name flashing on the screen. "Eva?" Her voice is shrill with panic. "You need to come over right now. Nico's here with 2 men. They're threatening Ishmael." Michael stirs beside me. "What's wrong?" I'm already pulling on clothes. My brother's in trouble, real trouble this time. I'm coming with you. When we arrive at Mom's house, there are 3 men in the living room. Nico looking dangerous in his expensive suit, and 2 others who seem more like bouncers than debt collectors. Ishmael sits on the couch, head in his hands. Mom's pacing, and Dad, who must have been called too, stands by the window, jaw clenched. Well, well, Nico says, smiling without warmth. The successful sister arrives. How much? I ask. 50,000. The room goes quiet. Even Mom stops pacing. That's impossible, I say. Last month, it was 9,000. Interest adds up, Nico shrugs, plus the new loans. Your brother's been busy. I turn to Ishmael. New loans? He won't look at me. I thought I could win it back. You have 24 hours, Nico says, checking his watch, or we start breaking things starting with your brother's fingers. After they leave, the screaming starts. You have to help him. Mom grabs my arm. He's your brother. I don't have that kind of money anymore, I say. I've given him everything. What about Michael? Dad suggests, speaking for the first time. Surely, your fiancé could. Don't. Michael's voice cuts through the room like ice. Don't even finish that sentence. Melina appears in the doorway. Someone must have called her too. Ava, don't be selfish. This is family. Selfish, I laugh, and it sounds slightly hysterical. Do you want to know how much money I've given this family? Should I show you the spreadsheet? You're keeping spreadsheets. Mom looks horrified, like we're some kind of business transaction. Of course I am. I pull out my phone, open the file I've been maintaining for years. $200,000, Mom. That's how much I've given you all over the past decade, my entire savings, my retirement fund, everything. The room goes silent again. But you make good money, Summer says from her corner. And now with Michael, stop it. Michael steps forward. Eva's not your personal bank anymore, and I'm certainly not going to be. We're trying to save your brother's life. Mom shrieks. No, I say quietly, you're trying to save him from consequences again. Ishmael finally looks up. His eyes are red. Sis, please. They're serious this time. They're always serious, I say, and I'm always there to fix it, but not anymore. Then you're signing his death warrant, Dad says dramatically. No. You all did that. Every time you enabled him. Every time you called me instead of getting him help. Every time you chose the easy way out. Mom starts crying. Melina moves to comfort her, shooting me a venomous look. There are other options, Michael says calmly. Bankruptcy, gambling addiction programs, police protection. Police? Ishmael jumps up. Are you crazy? These aren't guys you call the cops on. Then I guess you should have thought of that before borrowing from them. My phone buzzes. A text from Nico. TikTok. I'm done, I announce, walking toward the door. Figure it out yourselves. Ava. Mom's voice breaks. You can't leave your brother like this. I turn back one last time. Watch me. In the car, my hands are shaking so badly, I can't get the key in the ignition. Michael gently takes them. You did the right thing. Did I? What if they really hurt him? Then that's on him and them, not you. My phone keeps lighting up with messages. Melina calling me heartless. Mom saying she didn't raise me to be so cruel. Dad invoking family duty. Summer sending sad face emojis. I turn off my phone. They'll never forgive me for this, I whisper. Michael starts the car. Maybe that's not a bad thing. As we drive home, I think about all the times I've saved them, all the times I've sacrificed my own future for theirs, all the times they've taken and taken and taken. What happens now? I ask. Now? Michael takes my hand. Now you start living for yourself. But we both know it won't be that simple, because somewhere in the city, a clock is ticking down on my brother's debt. And for the first time in his life, his safety net isn't going to catch him. Part of me hopes he falls hard enough to finally learn how to save himself. The rest of me is terrified he won't survive the landing. I spend 3 days gathering evidence, bank statements, transfer records, text messages, emails, every desperate plea, every guilt trip, every manipulation carefully documented. Michael helps me organize it all into a presentation like we're preparing for a business meeting instead of a family execution. Are you sure about this? He asks, as I set up the Zoom call. They want to talk. Let's talk. One by one, their faces appear on screen. Mom looking martyred, Dad stern and disapproving, Melina barely concealing her rage, Summer uncomfortable but present, and Ishmael sporting a black eye, Nico's warning shot, presumably. Finally Mom says, "We've been trying to reach you for days." I know. I share my screen showing the first spreadsheet. Let's talk about why. What is this? Melina squints at the screen. This is every dollar I've given this family over the past 10 years, organized by date, amount, and recipient. I click through to the next slide. Here's Ishmael's gambling debts. Notice the pattern. They get bigger every time. Eva, Dad warns. This is unnecessary. Oh, I think it's very necessary. Next slide. Here's Melina's emergencies, rent, car payments. That boutique business that failed because you spent the startup money on a vacation. Melina's face flushes. That's private. Nothing in this family is private. You made sure of that when you started plotting how to use my engagement to get more money. Mom gasps. We never. I heard you. Michael speaks up for the first time. At the engagement dinner, every word. Silence falls. I continue through the slides, methodically exposing every loan, every manipulation, every broken promise to pay back just this once. $200,000, I say finally. That's what I've given you. My entire savings, my future, my security. We're family, Mom pleads. Family helps family. No, Mom. Family supports each other. Family builds each other up. Family doesn't treat one member like an ATM while mocking them behind their back. Is that what this is about? Melina sneers. Your feelings got hurt. This is about consequences. Ishmael needs rehab, not another bailout. You need to learn to live within your means. And Mom, you need to stop enabling everyone's worst instincts. Please, Ishmael speaks up, touching his black eye. They're going to kill me. There are programs, Michael says. Gambling addiction support groups, debt counseling, witness protection if necessary. We've researched them all. We don't need programs, Dad scoffs. We need you to step up and help your brother. No. The word feels like freedom. We're done. Done? Mom's voice rises. What does that mean, done? It means I'm cutting you all off. No more money. No more rescues. No more guilt trips. You can't do this, Melina shouts. We're your family. Not anymore. Mom starts crying. Dad begins lecturing about duty. Melina screams about betrayal. I let them. Their words have no power anymore. I've transferred all the documentation to a lawyer. I continue calmly. If any of you try to contact me or Michael for money again, she'll file harassment charges. You'd send your own brother to jail? Summer asks, finally speaking. No. I'm letting him face the consequences of his actions. There's a difference. You bitch, Melina spits. You think you're better than us? No. I think I'm done being worse than I am because of you. Ishmael starts begging. Mom's sobs get louder. Dad quotes scripture about family loyalty. I wait until they run out of steam. I'm sending each of you a final email with resources for financial counseling and addiction support. What you do with it is up to you. But this? I gesture at the screen. This is the last time we'll speak. You'll regret this, Mom says. Her tears suddenly dry. When you need us. I haven't needed you in years, Mom. I just wanted you. There's a difference. I end the call mid-protest. The silence that follows feels like a thunderclap. Michael pulls me close as I start shaking. You did it. I did it. My voice breaks. Oh God. I really did it. My phone starts buzzing immediately, texts, calls, emails. I block each number methodically, like pulling weeds from a garden. What now? I ask. Now we change our numbers, move if we have to, start fresh. They'll never forgive me. No, he agrees. But maybe someday you'll forgive yourself for letting them go. I look at my phone one last time before turning it off completely. There's a final text from Mom. You'll always be our cash machine ever. Don't forget that. I delete it along with every other trace of them. Sometimes burning bridges isn't about revenge. Sometimes it's about survival. The fallout comes in waves. First, there's the social media assault. Melina leads the charge with vague Facebook posts about toxic family members and money-changing people. Mom joins in with prayer requests for lost daughters who've forgotten their roots. I delete my accounts, then come the flying monkeys, distant relatives, family friends, even my old high school teacher, all reaching out to understand what's going on. Your mother's heartbroken, my aunt says over the phone. She's not eating. I'm sure she told you that, I reply, then block her number. Michael's sister Stacy becomes my unexpected ally. They're trying to add me on Facebook, she tells me over coffee. I block them all, the nerve of these people. 3 weeks after the Zoom call, Summer shows up at my office. She's the only one who knows where I work. Just hear me out, she says, sliding into the chair across from my desk. Things are bad, Eva. Really bad. I'm not giving anyone money. It's not about money. Well, not directly. She fidgets with her sleeve. Ishmael's missing. Mom's having panic attacks. Dad's drinking again. And she looks shocked. They're falling apart. They've been falling apart for years, Summer. I just stopped holding the pieces together. How can you be so cold? How can you still be so blind? She leaves in tears. I go back to work, ignoring the trembling in my hands. That night, Michael finds me on our balcony staring at nothing. Rough day? Summer came by. He sits beside me. Want to talk about it? Want to get married next month instead of waiting? He blinks. That's quite a change of subject. I don't want them to have time to plan anything. No big ceremony. No family drama. Just us, Stacy, and a justice of the peace. Okay, he says simply. Let's do it. But the universe has other plans. Walking home from dinner a week later, I see Ishmael sitting on our building steps. He looks terrible, unwashed, unshaven, desperate. Don't run, he calls out as I freeze. Please, Ava, 5 minutes. Michael steps forward protectively, but I touch his arm. Wait here. I approach my brother staying out of reach. You look awful. Yeah, well, being beaten by loan sharks will do that. He tries to smile, but his split lip makes it a grimace. I'm not here for money. Then why are you here? To say you were right about everything. He runs a shaking hand through his dirty hair. I hit rock bottom, sis. Lost everything. Even pawned Mom's jewelry. Rehab's still an option. I know. That's actually why I came. He pulls out a crumpled paper, the resource list I'd sent. This place you recommended, they have a scholarship program. I applied. Good. They accepted me. His voice cracks. I start tomorrow, 90 days impatient. Something in my chest loosens slightly. I'm glad. I'm not asking you to forgive me or trust me or even talk to me again. He stands slowly wincing. I just wanted you to know. You were right to cut us off. To cut me off. Maybe if you'd done it sooner, maybe. I agree. Anyway, I should go. Got a bus to catch. He takes a step, stumbles slightly. Be happy, Ava. You deserve it. I watch him limp away, fighting the urge to help, to give him bus fare, to fall back into old patterns. Michael comes up beside me. You okay? No. I admit. But I will be. That night, I get an email from Summer. Ishmael's going to rehab. Mom's furious, says he's abandoning the family just like you did. I think maybe you were both right to leave. I don't reply, but I don't delete it either. The next morning, Melina posts another cryptic status. Blood isn't always thicker than water. Sometimes it's just what drowns you. Mom comments. Pray for our lost sheep to find their way home. I close my laptop and turn to Michael. Let's go to City Hall today right now. Now. Now before I change my mind. Before they find a way to make this about them too. He studies my face, then nods. I'll call Stacy. 2 hours later, we're married. No white dress, no flowers, no family drama, just us, Stacy as our witness, and promises we intend to keep. As we sign the marriage certificate, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Mom, using Dad's phone, you'll regret shutting us out. Family is forever. I show Michael, who takes the phone and blocks the number. Family is what we choose, he says, kissing me, and we choose each other. For the first time since this all began, I truly believe that's enough. 6 months into my marriage, karma arrives like a wrecking ball. The news comes through Summer, who's taken to sending me brief factual updates every few weeks. Ishmael got arrested. Her text reads, not for gambling, fraud. He was running some kind of Ponzi scheme with Nico. Melina co-signed for loans. Mom and Dad put up their house as collateral. Everything's falling apart. I'm in the kitchen with Michael when I read it. My hands don't shake anymore when family news arrives. Wanna know the funny part? I show him the text. I saw this coming years ago. Told them he was getting into something illegal. They called me paranoid. The story unfolds over the next few days, through local news and Summer's updates. Ishmael had been running an investment scam promising desperate gamblers huge returns. Melina had helped him set up the fake companies thinking she'd get rich quick. Mom and Dad had vouched for him to their friends, bringing in more victims. Now Ishmael's facing serious prison time. Melina's credit is destroyed. Mom and Dad are losing their house, the same house I grew up in where family photos still hang on walls that will soon belong to someone else. Your mother's asking for your address. Summer texts. Says she needs to talk to you in person. No, I reply simply. She's crying a lot. Says you're their only hope. I block Summer's number. It hurts, but it's time. She made her choice by staying their messenger. That evening, Michael and I tour a lakeside property we've been eyeing. It's peaceful here. Far from the city, far from them. We could make this our home, he says, watching me stare at the water. Fresh start. My phone buzzes. Melina using a new number. They're charging me as a co-conspirator. I could go to jail. Please, ever. I know we hurt you, but I'm your sister. I delete it without responding. The next day, I receive a courier package at work. Inside is a handwritten letter from Mom. Ava, your father and I will be homeless in 3 weeks. The bank is taking everything. We raised you better than to abandon family in their darkest hour? Whatever issues you have with us, surely you can't want this for your parents. We need $200,000 to save the house. Michael makes good money. This would be nothing to him. Don't let your stubbornness destroy your family. Remember who changed your diapers, who fed you, who gave you life. Help us. Mom. I take the letter home and burn it in our fireplace, watching the guilt-laden words turn to ash. The next morning, the local paper runs a story about Ishmael's arrest. There's a quote from one of his victims, an elderly woman who lost her retirement savings. My stomach turns when I recognize the name. She was our neighbor when I was growing up. Used to bake cookies for us kids. Karma, Michael says when I show him. They preyed on their own community. They always did, I reply. I was just the first victim. Days pass. More news breaks. More victims come forward. Melina gets arrested. Mom and Dad face lawsuits from friends they convinced to invest. Their world is crumbling, and for the first time in my life, I'm not there to catch the pieces. Instead, I'm signing papers on the lake house, planning renovations, living. Your sister Melina took a plea deal, our lawyer informs us. She's testifying against Ishmael 5 years instead of 20. Family loyalty at its finest, Michael comments dryly. That night, I dream of drowning in bills, of Ishmael's desperate face, of Mom's tears. I wake up gasping. Michael holds me. Wanna talk about it? No, I say. I want to pack. We spend the weekend moving into our lake house. It's therapeutic, arranging furniture, hanging art, making plans. No family photos on these walls. No guilt in these rooms. As we're unpacking, I find a box of old cards and letters. Birthday wishes from Mom, Christmas cards from Melina, notes from Ishmael promising to pay me back. A lifetime of manipulation disguised as love. I take the box to the dock and drop it into the lake. The water swallows it without a ripple. My phone lights up one last time. A news alert. Ishmael's sentencing is tomorrow. Mom and Dad's house goes up for auction next week. Melina's starting her prison term soon. I delete the alert and turn off my phone. You okay? Michael asked from the doorway. I look out at the peaceful lake, at our new beginning, at the life we're building without their chaos. Yes, I say. And for the first time, it's not a lie. Sometimes the best revenge isn't action. It's absence. The morning sun glints off the lake as I sit at my desk, fingers hovering over my keyboard. Michael's still asleep upstairs, and the house is quiet, except for the gentle lapping of waves against our dock. I open a new document and start typing. Dear younger Eva, I'm writing this letter not to send, but to finally set you free. The doorbell interrupts my thoughts. Through the security camera, I see Summer standing on our porch looking nervous but determined. I consider not answering, but something in her posture makes me open the door. Before you slam the door, she says quickly, I'm not here as their messenger. I'm here for me. I leave the door open, but don't invite her in. Talk. I left them too. She hugs herself, looking small. After seeing what they did to that sweet old lady from our street, I couldn't anymore. Mom tried to convince me to invest my savings in Ishmael's scheme. That's when I knew you were right all along. Come in, I say finally. Coffee? In the kitchen, Summer tells me everything. How Melina's been writing angry letters from prison blaming everyone but herself. How Mom and Dad are living in a cheap motel still insisting they did nothing wrong. How Ishmael got 20 years. They're talking about appealing to you again, she admits. They think enough time has passed that maybe you'll know. I know. That's partly why I'm here. She pulls out some papers. I need your help with something, but not money. I'm going back to school starting over. Would you be my reference? You're the only successful person I know who got there honestly. I study my younger sister's face. There's something different there, a clarity that wasn't there before. Okay, I say. But first, I need you to read something. I show her my laptop screen, the letter I was writing. Dear younger Eva, I'm sorry I let them dim your light for so long. I'm sorry I taught you that love means emptying yourself to fill others. I'm sorry I made you believe that family obligations were more important than your own dreams, but I'm not sorry anymore. Summer reads silently, tears rolling down her cheeks. When she finishes, she looks up. Can I add something? I nod. She types, Dear younger Summer, I'm sorry I watched them drain you dry and said nothing. I'm sorry I was a coward, but I'm learning from your strength. We spend the morning writing letters to our younger selves, letting out years of suppressed truth. When Michael comes downstairs, he finds us both crying and laughing over coffee. Everything okay? He asks cautiously. Getting there, I say. Summer stays for lunch. We talk about her plans for school, about healing, about building a life that's truly ours. She's different now, harder in some ways, but clearer, like me. After she leaves, I finish my letter. You'll learn that real love doesn't demand your self-destruction. You'll learn that family isn't about blood or obligation. It's about choice and respect. You'll learn that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away. And one day, you'll sit in a beautiful house by a lake with a husband who loves you and a sister who finally understands, and you'll realize you're not just surviving anymore, you're living. Love. The Eva who finally chose herself. I print the letter and add one more thing, my updated will. Michael and I have discussed this at length. Our future children, if we have them, will inherit most of our estate. The rest goes to a new foundation we're establishing, the Forward Fund, helping people escape financial abuse from family members. Not a penny goes to my parents or older siblings. That's the last piece I tell Michael as I sign the documents. No more loose ends. He kisses my forehead. Proud of you. My phone buzzes. A text from Summer. Thank you for today, for everything, for showing me there's another way. Outside, the lake sparkles in the afternoon sun. I think about Mom and Dad in their motel room, about Melina in her prison cell, about Ishmael facing 2 decades behind bars. I think about karma and justice and peace. I close my laptop, take Michael's hand, and walk out to our dock. The water is calm, reflecting the sky like a mirror. In its surface, I see my reflection, clear-eyed, strong, free. Sometimes revenge isn't about making others hurt. Sometimes it's about making yourself whole. Sometimes it's about writing a new story. One way you're not the victim or the savior or the cash machine, just yourself. Finally, completely yourself, and that's enough.